Sisters who watch. Sisters who watch. Sisters who watch.
Abbott Elementary.
Hey, y'all, hey.
Hello.
Welcome to Sisters Who Watch.
I'm Shelby.
And I'm Laura, and we're sisters who watch everything. TV, movies, sports, concerts, and even public school principals dancing to Juvenile. We love to watch, and we love talking about it even more. Today we're watching Abbott Elementary.
Season 3 of Quinta Brunson's hit comedy series.
Woo woo! And before we get into it, make sure you are giving Sisters Who Watch 5 stars wherever you listen to podcasts. Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen, 5 stars, please. And make sure you give us a follow on all our social media platforms at Sisters Who Watch, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. We're there, so go support us and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We post all of our clips there, so make sure you're also subscribed there. Yeah, just show us some love. Show us some love. Yes. And buy our merch. We have merch now. We have hats, we have crop tops, we have sweatshirts. So go to our website, sisterswhowatch.com, and go to the shop tab, and that's where you'll find all of our merch. All right, thank you guys for the support. Okay, Shelby, what's the background of Abbott Elementary?
Yes, we love this show, and as always, we're going to give you the logline. A workplace comedy centered around a group of dedicated teachers and an oblivious principal in a Philadelphia public school where, despite the odds stacked against them, they are determined to help their students succeed in life. So wholesome. It airs on ABC. We watch it next day on Hulu. It just had its 3rd season. We reviewed season 2 last year. You can check that out. Abbott Elementary season 3 was one of our most anticipated shows that we're looking forward to in 2024. So we're big fans. We've been fans of Quinta for a while. I know, Laura, you remember her at the BuzzFeed days.
Yes, I was watching all of her YouTube clips on BuzzFeed like 10 years ago. And then when I saw she was having Abbott Elementary, I was like the Leo meme from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I was like, I know her. She was on YouTube like 10 years ago. Yeah, so I've been a fan for a long time. This season was delayed due to the actors and writers strike last year. So it was supposed to premiere in the fall, but it premiered in February instead.
We had a long wait. It was highly anticipated. And what I really like is that the season still followed the school year. So even though I feel like most shows that might have been delayed, they would have just like, oh, okay, we're just going to do our whole story as usual. They're like, no, we're going to still have it start at the beginning of the school year and then end at the end of the school year. And I really liked that. It felt right.
It's giving accuracy for sure and authenticity. What were some of your favorite moments of season 3?
Yes. So season 3 started with Career Day, an initiative that Janine, who now worked at the district instead of Abbott, was trying to implement. And one of the other big changes besides Janine now working at the district is that Ava, in this new school year, was turning over a new leaf and trying to be a better principal and actually do her job. And everyone was upset and frustrated, like, oh, we need Ava to be incompetent again. Why is she trying to have rules and restrictions? Like, it was hilarious. And eventually they were like, oh, we know how to get Ava back to normal. And Barbara in particular was like, play her favorite song. So they get Ava alone in the gym. Mr. Johnson starts playing Back That Ass Up by Juvenile. And Ava tries to fight it, but eventually starts dancing and shaking her butt and literally comes back to life. It's like Back That Ass Up was the awakening that Ava needed to come back to her crazy self. It was hilarious. And Back That Ass Up is such a good song. In college, heard that all the time, would stroll to it. So like, I resonate with that. I'm like, Ava, I get it. You hear that song, you're ready to get on the dance floor. So I just love that scene. And it felt so Black because I'm like, not many people will hear that and resonate. But
That's a Black song.
Was like, Quinta and those writers, they know we will hear that and feel it. So I felt seen.
I totally agree. I loved how she was like trying not to move, and then she just started like going crazy. It was so funny. Yeah, Ava's consistently my favorite. That was a great way to start the season. Something else that I thought was so funny was Jacob, he broke up with his boyfriend. And he was slowly kind of gaslighting his boyfriend because he didn't want to break up with him, which was really bad.
Drawers open,
yes.
Like not putting away like jam and honey, leaving the bread in the toaster, like all these awful things that would make you go crazy.
Yeah, so that was so wrong of Jacob. But Jacob ended up, moving out of the apartment with his boyfriend. Mm-hmm. And Melissa was looking for a tenant in her house. So they accidentally moved in together because Jacob was like, "Oh, you can't be honest about, who you are online." And Melissa was like, yeah, like you got to keep a low profile. I found this great guy. And then she realized it was Jacob who was catfishing her for the apartment. So they ended up living together, but it was so cute seeing their dynamic. They seemed like so fun and they're cooking.
Big shocker. Jacob and Melissa getting along.
I know, they bonded over Housewives. They're watching Housewives. I was like, I get it. Like, I love it. I love it.
Easy to bond over.
Yes.
If you love Real Housewives and some good pasta, come on.
Yeah.
Match made in heaven.
Right? Mm-hmm. So I thought their dynamic was fun. And how they were trying to hide that they were best friends from everyone else. I thought that was really cute.
I also liked how we got to see Tariq this season.
Yes. Father of the Year, Tariq. Yes.
Janine's ex-boyfriend turned stepdad of a student at Abbott. He starts dating a student's mom and then takes it upon himself to say, "I'm his stepdad," and become the leader of the PTA, like the Parent Association. Crazy. I'm like, Tariq, what's your job? So your job now is running the PTA, and he's like leading meetings, asking questions, throwing fundraisers. I'm like, this is insane.
Tariq is so funny. I can't. He was wild for that, for sure. And I loved how we first found out Tariq was now a stepdad, because he like walked into Barbara's classroom and Barbara's like, "What are you doing here? Like, Janine's not here."
Yeah.
He was like, "Oh no, I'm dropping my kid off." And she's like, "What are you talking about?" So funny. So funny.
And they were like, "Oh, with Janine?" He's like, no. I'm like, dating this woman and, her son, now my son goes here. Just crazy. And he was calling him like my boy and son instead of his actual name. It's like Tariq.
And the kid was like, "Please don't call me that." The kid was like, "You're not my dad." It was so I love it. I love it. And another episode that I thought was funny, there's a kid who's smoking at the school. And it leads to a whole mess. Tariq's former like improv singing group trying to teach kids about drugs comes, and all the teachers and their drug use is exposed. They're like, "Well, Janine, you use weed all the time." They're like, "You're a pothead." And they were like, "Well, you use Xanax and you use this. And Jacob, you vape all the time." And I just thought it was so funny, throwing everyone under the rug. And they're like, "Well, Barbara drinks like 2 glasses of wine every day." And it was just, I really liked how they just started sabotaging and turning on each other. And the kids found out that they, all took pleasure in these drugs, whatever. And I just thought that was so funny.
And I feel like Abbott does a good job of like touching on like hot topics or trending topics or polarizing news.
Right.
Like drug use or like CBD and marijuana, but like in a funny, light way. I think it's ironic, right? We tell kids, "Oh, you shouldn't be doing drugs," but meanwhile, adults are like microdosing with like shrooms and vaping. Like it was just like hilarious. And I felt like it was a good kind of critique, I think, about, drug culture.
I really love the episode where Janine and Gregory work together to bring a kid back to the school. And the kid was really sad because he was like, well, Miss Teagues is gone. Like, I don't want to go to school. I thought that was a really sweet episode.
Oh, we love a sweet, wholesome moment. And I think it shows the value, right, that teachers have and the connections that these kids were making, and showed why Janine was hesitant about, staying in the district, because she did have these relationships with her students and they did need her and miss her. I also thought it was funny that the kid was at home, like, watching The Price is Right with his grandma.
Classic stay-at-home activity. Love it.
And she was like, oh, he can't miss, Plinko. He can't miss the wheel. I was like, this is hilarious.
I can't. Yeah, that was
like
really
every
cute.
grandparent does that, I guess.
Loves The Price is Right. I get it. I also love it. Like, every time I watch, I'm like, wait, the show's so good. Yeah, I'm here for it. Another episode I loved is the field trip episode, and Jacob is so stressed about planning this field trip at this historic park, and the teachers end up getting, into beefs, right? It's Ava's line sister who, is a fellow principal. They are going at it, and the teachers are like sabotaging each other, putting their lunches in the hot sun, all of that. And I loved how the teachers were like, we're going to settle this with a relay race. And I loved that moment. It was so funny, like Janine doing the monkey bars. I was like, it looks like she can barely do the monkey bars.
I didn't think she was going to make it.
No, she was struggling on those monkey bars. And then Barbara, I can't believe Barbara was the finisher. I cannot believe she was the last one in the relay race. And she pulled it out for Abbott. I loved it. I loved how the teachers were like, we did it, kids, we did it. And the kids were nowhere to be found. The kids did not care. They were just hanging out, having a good time with the other school kids, The kids don't care about that stuff. It's the adults who, are overly sensitive and dramatic. So I thought, like, again, a good critique that the kids can get along just fine, but the adults are the ones butting heads, and they have to duel it out in a relay race.
Another episode that I really liked was our finale, and for a lot of reasons, but Janine throwing a party. Janine, Ava makes fun of for not, like, having a lot of fun or being loose, but we love to see Janine throw a party, have a little fun. It was her kind of party where she had sections for people. She was like, you have to be in the game section, you have to be in the loner section, you have to be in the movie section, all this stuff.
She was so anal about that party. Why was she so... Oh my gosh. I was like, Janine, enjoy the party. Oh my gosh. She was self-sabotaging.
Crazy. And I think it showed, like, even though she was trying to have fun, she still can't let go of her type A personality.
No.
It's always there. But
yes.
I thought it was a good way to bring the whole cast together. And, her district friends, the teachers. For some reason, Lana Condor showed up. Like, it was just like a good way to, like, have everyone there. And I thought it was funny. I was missing Tariq. I did think that would have been funny. But I guess as her ex-boyfriend, she's drawing a line, Yes. It makes sense.
But what if that would have actually been such a good idea? What if he crashed the party? He was like, Janine, I heard you're throwing a party. And then he just shows up. Like, that would have been so good. I would have loved that.
So good. And then it would have made Gregory stress out even more. Now he has to deal with Manny there, Tariq there. Make it a little spicier. And of course, the big moment finally happens, y'all. Janine and Gregory, it's kind of like will they, won't they, right? At the park, they multiple times are having conversations alone, think they're going to kiss or, like, have a moment. And then finally, at the end of the party, Gregory leaves with Jacob. And Jacob's like, why are you leaving? What are you doing? And aren't you going to tell Janine how you feel? Jacob, the real one, always being there.
I know.
Motivating motivating and shipping this relationship. We love to see it. Gregory's like, well, Manny's there. And they're like, Manny's leaving. And they see like Manny leaving. And Erica, Janine's friend, is like, oh yeah, like Janine shut that down. She wasn't into Manny. And Gregory's like, what?
I can't.
So Gregory, classic rom-com, decides to turn around and go back to Janine's apartment for the party. Janine's like starting to clean up and she's like, oh, you know what? Enough of this. I'm gonna, stop waiting and just do this myself. And she goes to like open the door. And there's Gregory. And they kiss! Finally! Oh my gosh. It's about time. But then it ends. That's it.
We don't know what happens. Like, do they hook up? Do they just make out? Are they boyfriend and girlfriend? Right? Like, we don't know what's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm intrigued to see how that goes down.
Very. But I will say that was like, there's been so much buildup for 3 seasons now. So the fact that it finally happened, I was very, very happy.
Yes, I agree. Okay, those were our favorite moments. What were some of your least favorite moments?
I have interesting feelings with the district. I am glad Janine had the experience of working there, even though it was like very corporate and had red tape. But for her to have an opportunity to like grow her career, get more leadership experience. And I think sometimes working at like a corporate place, like the district, could probably help you be a better teacher because you know how things run. You'll know how to like get answers. So I initially was sad she wasn't an Abbott anymore. But then I kind of was like, oh, I don't know how I feel about her leaving the district. Because it felt like a good opportunity for her to continue to grow. And not that Abbott was holding her back. Like maybe she can bring those lessons from the district to Abbott. But it felt like she was blossoming in the district.
I was a bit disappointed that she left the district because everyone was so excited about her, right? They're throwing her a party. And it felt like she was in a groove, right? Mm-hmm. She was making positive progress and change. And like you said, as a teacher, can you make those same changes? I think that's going to be really hard. So, but Janine loves working with the kids one-on-one. So if that's her true passion, then she should go do that. So yeah, I have mixed feelings too. I feel like Janine had so much potential at the district. So I was a little sad that she left.
And I think they needed like her can-do attitude. While she was there, she did career day. She got the librarian program. Shout out to Cree Summer, guest star. And I just felt like she was able to accomplish a lot while she was there because she had that can-do attitude and didn't give up. And they probably need more people like that there.
Also, after Janine comes back to Abbott, Gregory's trying to get back out there, go on dates, and Jacob invites Gregory on a double date. And another guest star, Ilana Condor, is the blind date for Gregory. And the bar they go to, Janine ends up being there with her district friends, with Manny. And Gregory is just spiraling. He can't take it. He can't take it. He can't take it seeing Janine with Manny. And he thinks they're on a date. He thinks they're boyfriend, girlfriend. He's like obsessed. And poor Ilana Condor is like, you're not looking at me. You're not giving any attention. What's going on? Gregory was losing his mind.
That was rough. And
yes.
It's tough because, remind me, it was Gregory's idea at the end of last season 2 to be like, we shouldn't be together, right?
Oh, yes, it was.
And now all of a sudden, classic, he's like losing his mind and is like,
obsessed.
I don't want Janine to date anyone. I went with her.
Jealous.
It's like,
classic.
You were the one who said you didn't want to be with her. So figure it out, little man. Sorry, it's not me.
Little man.
He's not little, sorry. But yeah, figure it out because we don't like this back and forth.
This goes with, another one of my least favorite moments. Apparently we find out in the finale that Janine turned down Manny, that Manny was interested in her. And girl,
I would not have turned him down.
That's the last thing I would have done. Are you kidding me? Manny is so fine. Like, I don't. What? He's so nice. He has a great job. I'm just like, what is she thinking?
I know.
How dare she? Him?
They have like that palpable connection, chemistry, hard to explain. But I know I would have been
No
like,
way.
yes, Manny, let's do it.
Say
And
less. Like, let's
he
right
didn't
now.
ask her until she left the district. He was not going to cross that line while she was there. And then when
Respectful
she
king.
left, he was like, can I take you out sometime?
Oh my goodness. I mean, come on,
And he was
Janine.
so nice and supportive. Ugh.
I know, what a missed opportunity.
Gregory better
Right?
treat her right.
I mean, compared to Manny, Gregory is a little man. I'm sorry. Like, Manny is jacked. Manny is jacked. He's huge.
You're right.
I'm just like, oh my gosh. Yeah, least favorite moment for sure. I'm like, you turned down Manny?
That was brutal.
Girl, what are you doing?
That was
okay. On to our categories.
Yes.
What do you have for love to hate?
We've already mentioned the district, but let's keep doubling down. In particular, Keegan Michael Key, the district leader? What was his role? I don't know. President?
The boss? Yeah.
I think it's kind of like a caricature of like, a school district leader and like red tape. And he's like, I don't want to hear about it unless it's free. It's like, oh. It's like the way he was like talking and addressing them, like just shutting down ideas. It can only be free. Like, remember, it's really hard to get things done. Like, he wasn't really inspiring them, Not the best boss. And it's tough because I understand school districts. And anyone like in kind of like a public service, kind of like government role, you're not making that much money. There's a lot of stuff you have to get done. I have empathy, but I also feel like if you're a leader, you should be inspiring and encouraging. And he wasn't doing that. So the district is in love to hate for me, particularly the district leader boss.
And even though part of me wishes Janine was still at the district, I think for the show, she can't be at the district, right? No. Like, she has to be back at Abbott. So I think you kind of knew that she wasn't going to stay there. I was like, when is Janine coming back to Abbott? Because you knew for the storyline for the season that she wasn't going to stay at the district. So I feel like we knew it was a temporary thing. So I think that also made it less likable, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Now on to hate. So I have the cliffhanger here, right? Like, we finally get Janine and Gregory. It seems like they're finally getting together, but we don't know, right? It could be an awkward hookup and now they never want to speak again, right? We just don't know what happens. So I think that the cliffhanger for 3 seasons, we're like, oh my gosh. And now we don't know what happens. We don't know. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think they're going to end up together? Do you think they're going to date? Do you think they're not going to speak? What do you think?
I think they're going to date, but I feel like classic sitcom, there's going to be ups and downs. They're probably going to break up, and then it's going to be awkward at work, and then they're going to get back together. Like, I think it's not going to be smooth sailing. I think if anything, the next season could be like issues with their relationship then affecting the broader school. Like taking sides. Are you team Janine? Are you team Gregory?
Ooh. Interesting.
I don't want that to happen, but I feel like it's not an interesting story if they're just happy-go-lucky,
Yeah, they need conflict, for sure. Yeah, something else I have for this category, I know you agree, Mr. Morden, that Debbie Downer of a teacher who's just always complaining about his ex-wife and has these really problematic views about women.
Mm-hmm. Not a
and
fan.
remember the book club episode? He was just acting so out of pocket.
Crazy. Yeah. And he's so mean to Jacob, and we don't know why.
We'll never know.
Between that and complaining about his ex-wife all the time, and kind of trying to discourage Janine and Gregory. Like, maybe he didn't know that they were feeling each other, but at the park field trip, he was just complaining about, never date a coworker. You know, my wife and I, we were teachers, and then we did this, and we broke up. We had to leave schools. Da da da. Like he's just railing about it, and it's like, dude, chill. And it's like
Yeah,
just
relax.
as Janine and Gregory are like sitting on the slide, like about to kiss. It was like awful.
Yeah,
Which hurt
not
me.
not our favorite character. On to Love to Love. Shelby, who or what from Abbott
Yes.
Elementary did you love to love this season?
All the celeb cameos and guest stars. First of all, who knew so many people were from Philly or loved Philly? I mean, crazy. We had Jalen Hurts and the Eagles in the premiere episode,
Icon.
which I loved. You know, big Jalen Hurts fans over
I
here.
mean, every black woman loves Jalen Hurts.
That's
What
right.
can we say?
He's great. Then Bradley Cooper cameoed after
Crazy.
the Oscars. That was a great episode, and like it was funny. Like not all the kids and teachers knew who he was.
So funny.
I thought that was funny. Questlove guest starred as like Ava's childhood friend. Like, oh, we went to school together. No one believed it, and then he shows up to Ava Fest, and they're like, "What, Ava? You were telling the truth."
Classic. The Roots.
And then Kevin Hart making a cameo when Janine thinks that that's her dad.
That was such a funny storyline. Oh my gosh, that was definitely a highlight because Taraji P. Henson plays Janine's mom, who plays a bit of a wild child, and Janine doesn't know who her dad is. So, and I think one of the teachers is like, "Oh, what if it's Kevin?" I think it was Janelle James. It was Ava.
Yes, Ava.
It was like, what if Kevin Hart's your dad? Ha ha, because you're so short. And then Janine was like, She's like, what if Kevin Hart is my dad?
She literally took it seriously.
And then she calls her mom and was like, "Oh, like Kevin Hart wouldn't be my dad." And she was like, "Oh, well, we did hook up in high school and college." And Janine's like, "I'm in trouble." Yeah, I loved Kevin Hart calling her, being like, "Who is this? Who's Janine? Keep on DMing me, emailing me, leave me alone." It was so funny. So I loved that storyline.
Sure. And of course, I love how they also have like kind of iconic black figures. You had Cree Summer guest star as the librarian who we all know from A Different World. Tatiana Ali guest starring as Ava's line sister, who we know from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Like, just love seeing recognizable faces who we know from, classic black shows.
Yes. And for our RuPaul's Drag Race fans, we had some drag queen cameos from season 13 winner Simone, who Shelby and I both really, really love.
Great.
And also All Stars 5 winner Shea Coulee, who's also like a huge drag race figure. So yeah, both of them, they're at Drag Brunch. I was like, okay. I mean, that's a huge gig. Abbott Elementary, it's the biggest show on TV right now. Huge. Absolutely huge.
I feel like Simone is everywhere. Like when I think of the most popular drag queen, I feel like every time I'm seeing her guest star on shows, I'm like, I love this for her.
Yeah.
It's huge.
So happy for her. And because Abbott Elementary has so many guest stars, it's kind of becoming like the new Friends, right?
Yes.
Everyone wants to be on. It's known for all the guest stars. Mm-hmm. And you were telling me that Quinta was saying not everyone can be on the show. Everyone wants to be on the show, but they can't.
I know, it's crazy. I was reading an article with like a lot of the producers and writers in the show saying like they get so many people requesting to be on the show, and like not everyone can make it. It needs to make sense. Like if it's an episode about whether or not her dad's Kevin Hart, like that makes sense. Or if like a childhood friend of Ava's is it needs to make sense, especially if like they're from Philly. But they get so many people, I'm sure, like wanting to be on the show, and it's like they have to make tough decisions. I wonder, like, did Simone say, "Oh, I want to be on the show," or if they're like, "Oh, we want to do a drag brunch," like they reached out to her. Like, I'm curious how that happened, but it's so smart to me that they are doing very like strategic guest stars who I'm sure want to be on the show, and then it also makes sense.
Okay, Shelby. Is it a red flag to date a coworker?
I typically would say yes. I know. You don't want to mess with work and play, like to bring a relationship into work, which is like supposed to be your paycheck, your 9 to 5, and there are all these policies about relationships at work. Like it has the possibility to get messy and interfere with that paycheck, and you never want anything to interfere. And we saw with, Mr. Morden, things went south when, he and his wife, who were teachers working together, and look now, they're at different schools and are struggling. But I typically would say it is a red flag. I, though, to date, have not been attracted to any of my coworkers, so I haven't.
Ouch!
I haven't been like
if you're one of Shelby's coworkers, ouch.
So I can't relate to it, but I typically would be against. In this case, though, I do want Gregory and Janine to be together, so I'm a little conflicted. But I would have preferred, right, her dating Manny now when she's not at the district. She's a teacher at Abbott. He's at the like. I think it's better when there's like slight separation. But the fact that Gregory and Janine literally have classrooms next to each other and like are gonna work at the same school, like that could be a lot of time and energy. And if it goes south, I'd be worried.
I don't know why I don't ship Gregory and Janine. I think they're very sweet, but I'm not like obsessed rooting for them like I feel like I would. I know her turning down Manny. I'm like, no, Janine.
I feel like you're just into Manny. Are you just Team Manny?
No, but
would you have felt this if Manny wasn't around?
No, it's true. Even before, I was like, they seem sweet, but I don't know. The past couple seasons, they're trying, right? They're trying to make them like the will they, won't they, and I think they're very sweet. But I don't know. I'm not like obsessed with them. But I do like how they're kind of two awkward Black people, who are like interested in each other. Because you don't see that on TV. You see like the gorgeous model, Zendaya types, like falling in love. But you're seeing these quirky, awkward, Black couple. And I think I do like that aspect of it. But I'm not like obsessed with them as a couple, personally.
Is there someone else you'd want Janine with besides Manny?
No, I feel like Janine hasn't gotten a lot of options on the show, right? Like she was with
Vince Staples,
right? He was there. He wasn't great. Tariq obviously is a clown. Like Janine, the first good option Janine has had, is Manny, and she turned him down. But we haven't seen Janine hasn't had a lot of options.
That's fair.
So.
Okay, writers, if you're listening, give Janine some better dating options.
Yes.
Is it a green flag to turn down a higher paying job? So Janine saying no to the district's promotion and going back to Abbott.
No, it's not a green flag. I recognize that Janine, her passion is teaching. So I acknowledge that that's good and important. I just think the district is such a great opportunity. And right, it's, it's a bit more prestigious, whatever. But I think that she can make so much more, right, like sweeping systemic change, if she really wants to help as many kids as possible. But if teaching is her passion and she gets the most joy out of, interacting with kids one-on-one, then yeah, that's the right choice. But I think just generally, I wouldn't have turned down the district job. If I were her, I would not have done that.
I think that's fair. I feel like in her case, it could be a green flag because teaching's her passion and she likes those people and she likes those kids. So it's like she wants to do that. I think of like my experience, I could have like been an investment banker right after graduation and just made a lot of money, but like that was not my energy. Like that's not what I wanted to do. So I was like, I'm gonna do wealth management, and I'm gonna do like a more creative path and do entertainment. But if I wanted to make a lot of money, I would have never left Morgan Stanley and just stayed, in finance. So I can understand, like, it's not the exact same situation, but I've kind of turned down like a higher paying path to pursue like entertainment and more creative things. So I can resonate with Janine.
Yeah. I mean, if I were pursuing money, I would not be, a government employee. So I definitely could, right, be in finance or HR, whatever, and be making way more than I am right now. So yes, I understand that. But I think in the context of the show, like the district, she wants to help kids. I just
Yeah.
feel like that, yeah, I feel like that opportunity was just really amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Shelby. So season 3 of Abbott Elementary, a wait or a watch?
It's a watch. Big watch, 100% watch. So funny, topical, and it's shorter than the past seasons because of the strike. So
Right.
if you need to catch up, it's not as many episodes. And I just love that they're 20 minutes. I miss like a short show. It's just so easy and quick, and we love a network comedy.
Yes, I agree. Definitely a watch. It's something I look forward to watching every week. It's always light, it's always fun.
Mm-hmm.
Um I will say though, I feel like out of all 3 seasons, I feel like this probably was my least favorite. I just feel like season 1 and season 2 were so stacked.
Yeah.
I Yeah, kind of as you mentioned before, like there were a couple episodes that were, not as funny. I feel like Janine at the district kind of disrupted like the flow or the momentum of some of
Mm-hmm.
the episodes. Because we knew that storyline, she wasn't actually going to stay. There's no way Janine is staying at the district.
Mm-hmm.
So we knew that she was going to come back to Abbott at some point. So I feel like of all the seasons, this was probably my least favorite, but it was still good. I still enjoyed it.
This season had more like clunker episodes than maybe in the past. Like the episode with Barbara's choir. I'm like, eh. Like there were certain episodes this season where I was like, I didn't laugh as much as I may have in the past. Or
Yeah, like
like
the book
maybe,
club
yeah, the
episode.
book club episode, that one was okay. I wonder if the strike had anything to do with it, the shortened timeline, they were rushed. The structure of the season, like you said, because of the district. Like, I'm curious if next season it'll be back to its true form, given
Yeah.
they won't have all these like kind of external factors or like structural issues.
Yeah. So we'll
Well,
see.
fingers
We'll
crossed.
still be watching.
Yes,
On to our What
we
to Watch segment.
will.
Speaking of, season 4 of Abbott Elementary is coming out this
Woo!
fall.
Truly one of our favorite shows, and
Yes.
I'm glad we have like a Black sitcom that's doing well, critically acclaimed, and that people are watching and want to see more. I'm very excited. And Quinta
Yes.
said she like wants to focus on it. Like she doesn't want to have too much going on because she wants to prioritize Abbott and make it the best that it can be. So I feel
It's
like
amazing.
we know it's a priority for her. And I think that's great because sometimes you see people like they might like leave a show or not be a producer anymore or just like not focus on it as much as it gets to the later seasons. And I love that she's like, nah, this is my baby. I'm focused on it. I want it to be great.
So in addition to season 4, there's a bunch of comedy shows and tours from the cast. So if they're coming to a city near you, go support them. Janelle James, Lisa Ann Walter. They performed at Netflix's A Joke Fest. Shelby, did you know that Lisa Ann Walter won Celebrity Jeopardy?
I did not.
Yes. It's on Hulu, so sometimes I'll randomly just put stuff like that on TV because I
Mm-hmm.
find Celebrity Jeopardy to be interesting. And I saw that she was on the show. I was like, oh, fun, Lisa Ann Walter. And she ended up winning the whole thing.
Wow.
Shock. She wasn't even expecting it, honestly. So
Wow.
it was a really fun season. So yeah, go watch that. She was amazing on it.
Love that for her. Oh, she's great. We have made it to the end of our episode.
Yes.
Crazy. Go watch Abbott, y'all. All episodes are streaming on Hulu and Max.
Okay. Yes. And if you enjoyed this episode of Sisters Who Watch, give us 5 stars wherever you listen to podcasts, Apple, Spotify, wherever. And make sure you follow us on our social media platforms, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, all at Sisters Who Watch. Go support us, show us some love, and buy our merch. Go to our website, sisterswhowatch.com, and go to our shop tab, and you'll find all our merch there. Yes.
Yes, we want to hear from y'all. Please DM us on social media. You can email us at sisterswhowatch@gmail.com. You can comment on our posts. You can respond to our Q&As and polls on Spotify. leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. It would mean a lot. We really appreciate your support.
Yes, thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Stay watching.